everybody, welcome back to the channel. So it's been a little bit since I recorded a video, but that is because I was out of town for a while. I'm hoping to get back into the swing of things. We'll see how things go. I don't plan on being out of town again until December, so that'll give me a little bit of time to catch up on everything that I actually need to watch. But for this video, what I had planned to do was walk you through everything that I watched in the month of October. Now, for the month of October, I had planned to watch 31 spooky movies for spooky season and for Halloween. However, I was out of town and I didn't get to watch as many films as I had hoped to watch. So because of that, I'm not exactly sure of what the number is, and we'll figure it out as we go along. We'll keep track up here. We'll keep track in one of these corners as we go along. But I didn't make it to 31. Next year I will make it to 31. But so I don't know. Let's jump right in. We've got a bunch of Blu-rays. We've got a couple of 4Ks. We've got some steelbooks. We've got a DVD. And these are all films that I've never seen before because I wanted to challenge myself to watch things that I hadn't seen before and that, let's expand the horizons, right? All right. So let's jump right into it. Let's take a look at the first film. So the first watch for spooky season was Somebody Help Me. And honestly, I didn't anticipate really enjoying this movie, and then I did. I actually liked it a lot, and I came to realize that, oh, that's why there's a sequel, because, it was actually pretty good. It's about a bunch of kids who go up to one of their uncle's cabins for a weekend, and someone out in the woods is kidnapping them and doing a bunch of strange things. Fortunately for them, the sheriff does believe them and is eager, I'll say eager to help. And I won't tell you how the movie works out. I won't tell you who makes it through. I will try to keep these brief synopses spoiler free. So if you're interested, please check out Somebody Help Me. It has Omarion and what's that boy's name? Marcus Houston. So yeah, give this one a watch. It was actually pretty good. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Sometimes when you get too many musicians in a film, it doesn't go well, but the plot was decent enough to help things move along and to keep the movie interesting. So go ahead and check out Somebody Help Me. So that was number one. Next on the list, we have The Collector. Now, I had heard a lot about this movie, but I had never actually heard what it was about. So I said, okay, I'm going to take the plunge. I'm going to get it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to see if I enjoy it. And I did. I will be honest. The first time I watched it through, I wasn't fully paying attention. And like halfway through, I was like, just forget it. And I turned it off because I was trying to do like 50 things at once. And it wasn't working out. When I watch a movie, I really need to focus. So I turned it off the first go around, maybe about halfway through. And then the next day, I tried it again. And oh my goodness, I was sucked in. This is one of those movies that will make you feel claustrophobic. It ramps up the anxiety. I was always like, oh my goodness, is he going to make it? Is he going to get out? How is he going to make it? How is he going to get out? But essentially the main character in this film is a thief, and he goes to a home to rob the people who live there, and the house has unfortunately been booby trapped to collect and kill the patrons of the home. So the people who live there are being collected, and he is, our main character, the thief, is trying not to be collected at the same time. So this was actually a really, really good watch. If you're squeamish, there's a lot of squeamy things. But if you're not and you can take the blood and the gore, then this one is definitely a must watch. The Collector. Let's see what else we have. Oh, yes. So I enjoyed the collector so much that I jumped right back in and I got the collection, which is the sequel to the collector. Now, for this one, I have to be honest, I didn't enjoy it as much. It didn't give me that same claustrophobic, anxious feeling that I really enjoyed in the first one, but it is a good follow up. And I feel like personally, we need a third one. We need to see where this goes. There was just so much happening in this film, and there were so many questions that weren't answered about the guy who's collecting people. And I mean, our main character, can I talk today? Goodness, our main character, the thief, is back, and he is helping assist a group of individuals free someone who has been captured by the collector. And it's a wild ride, but again, it didn't give me that same claustrophobic feeling. I think the setting was too broad for this one. But I think if they, I don't know why I say we like I'm involved in making this movie. I don't know. I think if they went back in a third one and they really took the time to examine, the collector, we could get some of that magic from the first one back. I think a third one is absolutely needed for this one. I really enjoyed it. This one is called The Collection. It is the sequel to The Collector. Okay, so this was one where I don't know why I did this to myself. The new Child's Play. Now, it's not as bad as everybody made it out to be, but it wasn't very good either. But I appreciated that they kind of updated the doll a little bit, and that the doll wasn't just inherently evil. Chucky was not just like, I'm out to kill everybody because I used to be a murderer and I'm a human body and voodoo and die. Okay, it was a little bit different. The doll here really was Andy's friend, and everything he was doing was because he wanted to be Andy's only friend. So it was an interesting movie, but again, it was not anywhere near as good as the original. And I'll say that I didn't really, I could take it or leave it. It's one of those where I'm like, I'll add it to the Child's Play collection, but otherwise I would probably pass this movie on to someone else who would enjoy it. All right, next up we have Tales from the Hood 2. Now, if you've been watching my videos, you know that I really enjoy Tales from the Hood, the original. And so I thought to myself, well, I've been avoiding 2 and 3. They're newer installments, and I didn't think they were really needed, so I never really branched out to watch them. But I did go ahead and take the plunge to watch Tales from the Hood 2, and I have to say I didn't enjoy it. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have redeeming qualities. But the social commentary felt very heavy-handed in this one, whereas it was a little more restrained in the first one. Even though, it was right in your face, but it was a little more restrained. And so this one just felt very heavy-handed. I would watch it again, yes, to see if I feel differently about it. And I do plan on getting the third one. But, for now, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna sit this one to the side and see if I feel like coming back to it. I will come back to it. We'll see how long it takes me to come back to it is more and more the issue, right? But I will come back and revisit this one. Maybe I'll watch it again next year and see if I feel differently about it. So, Tales from the Hood 2. Okay. So next up we have the documentary Living with Chucky. This one I hadn't seen before. Sorry, I got a little dust on the back. I hadn't seen this one before, and so I figured, oh, okay, why not? I enjoy the Chucky franchise, except for, that Child's Play new thing that they did. But I do enjoy the original Chucky franchise, and I have to say, some of the movies that people really hate, like Cult of Chucky and Seed of Chucky, I like those. So I really do like Seed of Chucky a lot. But I wanted to kind of dive into more of the making of Chucky, and I really enjoyed this. I mean, for a diehard Chucky fan, there's probably not a lot of new information, but I enjoyed the way that it was put together and the way that they presented the information to me, and it made me feel like I didn't know some of the things that I already knew. It was like watching, okay, I was gonna say it was like watching it for the first time, but it was like learning things for the first time all over again. So this was actually a really good watch, and if you have the opportunity to check it out, please do so. It's called Living with Chucky. So especially if like Chucky is your thing, go ahead and check out Living with Chucky. All right. The next one that I watched is called The Lazarus Effect. And this was actually a dollar store find. So this was $1.25 at the Dollar Tree. I picked it up because it has Evan Peters in it, and I enjoy Evan Peters. It also has Donald Glover and, oh, what is her name? I always call her 13. So, Olivia Wilde. I call her 13 because when she was on House, House called her 13. So this one has Olivia Wilde, Evan Peters, and Donald Glover, and it is essentially about a group of scientists who are working to develop a drug that helps bring patients back to life or give doctors more time to save patients' lives, right? And essentially, Olivia Wilde's character, I think she got electrocuted. It's a wonky plot. She got electrocuted, and her little scientist friend group uses the experimental drug to bring her back to life, and then all sorts of crazy things happen. Um, I will admit that for this one, eh, the plot felt too loosey goosey. It didn't feel like there were a lot of rules to the drug or how it worked. Things just felt like they kind of left the audience hanging and expected us to just agree with, oh, okay, this drug brings people back to life, and once they come back to life, things are a little weird. So I wanted more information about that. I think that developing that point stronger would have made this a much better movie, and also telling us more of the backstory of Olivia Wilde's character would have made this a better movie as well. But it is what it is. I would watch it again, probably not anytime soon, but I would watch it again, yes. So anyway, this one's called The Lazarus Effect. What number are we up to? Have you been keeping track? Because I haven't. I tried. I gave you number one, and then after that, I forgot to count. So, all right. Here's the next one. This one is called Incarnation, and this one stars Taye Diggs and some other lady who I don't know. Sorry, other lady. I bought it because it had Taye Diggs in it. And so this was a cheap find for me as well. It is about a couple, Taye Diggs and this other lady, who moved to a new home to work on some projects and do some things and whatever. The home is, it's actually a former church, and it's a little bit haunted. And so in his quest to make things better in his marriage, Taye Diggs' character casts this incarnation, and ends up, I don't know, unleashing a spirit of some sort. Uh, it seemed like a very low budget film that probably could have benefited from a little more script development and a little more money. But for what it is, it actually held my attention, it held my focus, and it has a good creep factor. There are some scenes in it where I'm like, oh, that's a little creepy. I mean, it didn't scare me or anything. It wasn't like, ah. But there were some scenes in it that were definitely a little bit creepy for, you know, for what they could do with what they had. So I do recommend this one, actually. I know it seems like I don't because I'm like crapping on it a little bit, but really it wasn't a bad movie. there were just things that could have been developed better. But I do recommend this one. This one is called Incarnation. So this one is called Meet the Blacks, and it is actually like a Purge parody, and it stars Mike Epps. And I felt like this one was just trying a little bit too hard. There were some funny parts, but it was definitely one of those parody movies that I could do without. I don't have anything against parody films, but this one just kind of was sometimes it was a little too on the nose, and then sometimes it was so far away from the nose that you didn't even know that you were talking about the same nose. So, I will actually, there's a sequel to this. If you enjoyed The Purge and you like parody movies, yes, go ahead and give it a watch. But there's a sequel to this, and I will check out the sequel to see if maybe perhaps it's a little bit more enjoyable than this one was. If I don't enjoy the sequel, honestly, I will probably pass both of them on to someone else who will enjoy them. All right. So this one was great. This one's called Little Monsters, and it has Lupita Nyong'o and Josh Gad, and it was adorable. Even though I'm not big on zombie movies usually, like it has to be kind of out of the box for me to really enjoy a zombie movie. As another one in the pile was, but we'll get to that in a minute. This one was super cute. It's about a guy who takes his nephew to school, and his little kid, takes his nephew to school and sees his nephew's teacher and is just smitten. So he ends up going back to the school for one of their field trips to help out, just so he can spend time with the teacher. And turns out there is like a zombie unleashing when they are on the field trip. And it is just the cutest story, even though it has zombies in it. And I won't ruin it. I won't spoil it for you. I won't tell you the ending, but it was a cute story. I guess it's a horror movie because it has horror elements such as zombies and, blood, guts, and gore. But this was just adorable. This was just the cutest little movie, and I really enjoyed it. I would give it another watch any day. What else do we have? All right, this next one, Come to Daddy with Elijah Wood. Now, I thought this was going to be more of a horror movie than it was, and it sets up some good horror elements at the beginning. It is about a man who gets a letter from his father, his estranged father, his very, very estranged father, asking him to forgive him for essentially abandoning him and his mother, and inviting him to come to visit. So Elijah Wood's character goes out to visit his father, and then you start to realize the father is not the nicest person, and the tension in the home gets ratcheted up as the man kind of berates Elijah Wood's character for not being a strong man, and all of these things that the father thinks that Elijah Wood's character should be. However, there's a plot twist that I don't want to spoil for you. I'm really trying hard not to give you spoilers, but if I don't give you the spoiler, it doesn't give you anything about the plot. So I'm just going to not say anything at all, and I'm just going to say, watch Come to Daddy, because this one was a trip. So go ahead and give this a watch. What else do we have? All right. Trying not to get the smudges. So the next one we have is called Death by Temptation, and it is about a demon woman who is kind of luring men into her den to then kill them. She's very flirty, she's very tempting, she's very seductive, and she lures all these men back to her apartment and has a night of pleasure with them before essentially killing them. And this was really good. This has Kadeem Hardison in it, and sometimes I could take or leave Kadeem. But this was actually pretty good. And his character in this is someone who meets this woman at the bar. And he doesn't actually end up going back to her place because he has to pick up his cousin from, he has to meet his cousin at home. And so, he plans to call her later, and they plan to get together. And, he takes his cousin out a few days later, and he and his cousin go to the bar. And his cousin meets this woman. And this woman is all over his cousin, to the point where she pretends she doesn't even know Kadeem. His cousin falls for it, and then it's a wild ride. It is a wild ride as Kadeem sorts through what is happening here and realizes that, oh, this woman is not the woman she claims to be. So anyway, go ahead and check out Death by Temptation. All right, so the next one that I have is Ghost Watch. It is a 1992 British, I don't want to say mockumentary because that makes it sound bad, but because they're really not making fun of anything in this movie. In this movie, they are presenting a haunting of a woman's home, a woman and her two kids, and they are presenting it as a documentary. And this movie got there's a lot of controversy behind it because when it aired on the BBC originally, people didn't know that this was not a real documentary. They thought this was real, that all of the callers were real, and that real things were happening in England that were horrifying. So if you're in the mood for a documentary style film about a woman's home being haunted, this is definitely for you. This was actually pretty good. I did get the big box set, the big chunky box set that came with all the extras, and I haven't had a chance to look at all of the extras yet, but I plan to do that, and I plan to watch the extras on the DVD or on the Blu-ray, because I didn't get a chance to do that either. But I think I feel like, oh my goodness, I need to watch everything about this film because it was so good. You don't get the same feeling nowadays that I assume people back then got, just because you know that you're a bit removed from the situation because of, the, it looks like it's from 1992. So you already know that, okay, this is not happening right now. But it's still a wild ride. You are still invested in these characters and in these people. And by the end, you're even more ramped up to know, oh, what exactly is happening in this woman's home. So this was a good one. Ghost Watch. Have you been keeping track of the numbers since I last asked? Because I still haven't. All right. Okay. The next one we have is The Wailing. This was great. It's not in English, so you will have to read subtitles, but it is about a village in, I want to say, Korea? Let's see. I don't want to lie to you. We're going to go with Korea. I'm probably lying to you. It is about a village in Korea who ends up getting possessed by a demon. Like, all of the villagers start showing these strange symptoms and having strange things happen and like committing murders and doing all these weird things. And the police are trying to track down a murderer when it turns out that the murderer is a ghost demon. And the main police officer's daughter ends up getting possessed by this ghost demon, and he is on a quest to kill the demon. This one took me for a loop. At times I was convinced that maybe there was no demon at all. At times I was convinced I knew who the demon was. At times I was convinced I had no clue who the demon was, but there was definitely a demon. And the movie, at the end, you do get the answer. but the movie was done so well. It kept you on your toes, even though sometimes when I have to read subtitles, I get taken out of the movie a little bit. But this one, it just hooks you and it holds you and it keeps you throughout the entire movie. So definitely check out The Wailing if you have a chance. All right. So I know, you guys, I know. So this is the new Leprechaun Collection Steelbook that just came out from Walmart. And I picked this up because I've only ever seen Leprechaun in the Hood before, of course, right? So I picked this up and I watched the first Leprechaun. And I have to say, it was entertaining. It was entertaining. It was entertaining in a cheesy sort of way where I was like, how did we get so many sequels? But it was entertaining. It held my attention. I loved Jennifer Aniston's outfits in this movie. If I were thinner, I would wear them today. It was good. So I watched the first Leprechaun. I plan to watch the rest of the movies in the series, but I didn't get around to it. But I did watch the first Leprechaun, and there's not. I mean, everybody's seen it. What do you want me to say about it? There's not much to say other than, sometimes you shouldn't steal a leprechaun's pot of gold. All right, next up we have Train to Busan. Now, I know I said zombie movies don't always do it for me, but this one did it for me. I do like that claustrophobic feeling, and this movie definitely gave me that. It kept me feeling claustrophobic. It kept the tension going. It ramped up the tension at points. It knew when to pull back. It gave you a good story, a nice character arc, great emotional connections between the father and the daughter in this movie, who go on a train to Busan to visit her mother because she wants to visit her mother. And her father has said, I'll take you later, I'll take you later, I'll take you later. And so finally they get on this train to visit her mother, and zombies. It's always zombies, isn't it? I hope that's not what happens in the real world. So the zombies end up overtaking the train because the disease is spreading from zombie to human to zombie. I don't know. Whatever. So the zombies end up overtaking the train, and they are kind of pushing their way car to car to car. And this is a wild ride. And at the end, the ending was very sad to me. I don't know why. Everybody can't always make it in a horror movie, but there were characters in this one that I was absolutely rooting for, and I was sad to see them go. So I know there's a sequel to this one called Peninsula, and I do plan to check that out, even though I've heard that it's not as good as the first one. But definitely, if you have the time and you don't mind the subtitles, check out Train to Busan. What else do we have in the pile? So this one is called Talk to Me, and it is a recent release. I missed it when it was in theaters, so I went ahead and picked up the Amazon exclusive copy. This one was okay. It was okay for me. I needed more explanation, but the scare factor was good. It was very original, very engaging. It kept my attention throughout, and I really did enjoy it. But I did need more explanation, and I kind of hope that maybe there's a sequel that gives us a deeper look into the hand and where it came from and how it ended up in certain people's possession and how it works. Past all those logical questions that I probably shouldn't be asking in a horror movie, I really did enjoy this one. So if you have a chance, I don't want to spoil too much of the plot, but if you have a chance, definitely check out Talk to Me. So here's our last one. And I know you're going to say, how have you never seen the original Exorcist before? I don't know, I just hadn't. So I picked up the Best Buy exclusive Steelbook, and I gave it a watch, and I really enjoyed it. I could definitely see how when this movie was made and when this movie was released originally, it was considered the scariest movie of all time. I watched it with the lights out, I watched it in the dark, I watched it while eating a bunch of chicken wings. I enjoyed it. I was anxiously chomping my chicken wings while I, watched this demon just slowly possess this girl. Slowly, 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 until it was a complete possession. And in the movie, you never really get a sense of, well, when does the demon actually start to possess her? Or how does she actually come to start to be possessed? And I think, to me, that made it a little bit better. That made it more intriguing. That made me pay attention more. Like, oh, what's going on here? Well, what? Why would she say what? What's oh? So it gave me a little more intrigue as I watched the movie. The fact that I couldn't exactly figure out when she fell under this possession. However, man, this was a wild ride. And I really enjoyed it. I don't know how I had never seen this movie before, and I will watch this movie again. I will probably watch this movie yearly from now on because it's so good. Do I plan to check out the sequels? I don't know yet. But for now, I absolutely loved The Exorcist, and it was one of my favorites that I watched so far this Halloween season. So, if you haven't, which I'm sure you have because everybody on the planet has except for me, if you haven't seen The Exorcist, please go ahead and give this one a watch. So, what was my total when it comes to spooky season movies for this October? It looks like my total was actually 17. It's a little bit better than half. It's not as good as I wanted it to be, but again, I was out of town for like 3 weeks in the month of October, so I was really like trying to cram things in where I could, and I think I did a pretty good job. Next year, I will definitely do better. I will not be out of town, and I will get in all 31, if not more. Let's make the goal for next year 35. So you guys hold me accountable next year if I'm still putting out content. 35 videos for the month of October. 35 spooky movies that I've never seen before. So I want to thank everybody for watching. I really appreciate you. I always appreciate you. So like and subscribe down below if you would like to see more content. And again, thank you guys so much for watching, and happy Halloween.